It has been over a year. I've been waiting on this piece since they announced it was coming. This is the Rogue CTM-1 that is designed to be a 2-to-1 functional trainer, a 1-to-1 lat pull down, and a 1-to-1 low row with a 250-pound up to 300-pound stack, all made in the USA in one compact platform. The question is not really, is this good? Because it is very good. The question is it a little too? Let's get into the video. Hey guys, it's Coop from Garage Gym Reviews, back in the gym, back with the Rogue CTM-1. It was announced right on the heels of the Rep Adonis being released. Actually, Bulletproof kind of released their renders too, which is a similar single stack design. This design is a very versatile design. It's also a pretty well-loved design in the home gym market. The reason is now they are making lat pull downs and low rows that are no longer just lat pull downs and low rows, but also have extra functionality using a lot of modularity. The Prime Fitness single stack, which I've had in my garage gym for years, it is a great piece, but one of the biggest downsides to it is one that both Rep with the Adonis and now Rogue has fixed, which is the ability to do low rows with a 1-to-1 ratio. What I mean by 1-to-1 is when you pull, you're getting all the stack weight at the end point versus 2-to-1 where you're basically having, due to some pulley magic, at the end point, which is ideal for something like a functional trainer because it gives you more cable travel. That's a lot of cable travel. And then you don't need that cable travel on a lat pull down. You just want a heavy weight. And so that would give you this, where you have full 250 or 300 pound stack, same with the low row. Let's start with the frame. This is, as you would expect from anything Rogue, this is a 3x3 with 1-inch holes and 11 gauge steel. This is using pretty much the exact same uprights as their other equipment. One reason they do that is because they can have them on the same powder coat line. The other reason it saves them money because they only have to have fewer SKUs, but it's actually really beneficial for the user because you can use the same attachments that you use from all the other companies. Say you want to use a Rep Pegasus seat from their Adonis, technically you can use it on this one. Now I haven't actually put it on here, so I can't tell you if you actually can, but my assumption is due to the geometry of the uprights, you should be able to. Now they are using their keyhole design, as you can see on the sides, and one reason they're using that, other than the fact that it just kind of goes along with their design language and because they already have the uprights available, is it actually uses it for the trolley system here. Now I'll run through this and what I think of it, but let's start actually with the stack. The stack that we have here is a 250-pound stack. One thing about this unit that Rogue is very proud of, and I think should be, is this thing is pretty much everything made in the USA. I think the one thing that's imported is the aluminum pulleys. Now, Rogue there for a while, when they first released the FM trainer, they released it with nylon pulleys and then had an upgrade option for aluminum pulleys. Well, I think they heard the market and everybody wanted aluminum pulleys, so now they just have aluminum pulleys standard on pretty much everything. I like aluminum pulleys better because they're a little bit smoother. A lot of that also has to do with the bearings, and these are very high quality pulleys. You can have aluminum pulleys that have worse bearings and aren't very smooth. This makes for a very smooth lat pull down, low row, and functional trainer. But this is a 250-pound stack. These are cast plates. I think these are made in the USA too, which is pretty wild. You don't have a lot of cast stacks. Prime actually has some too that are made in the USA. 250-pound stacks, starts with a 20-pound head plate, which I think is fine because your functional trainer is at half that. So it's gonna be 10 pounds at the functional trainer at the end point. I think that's great and still allows you to be able to do a lot of rehab, prehab, and also like lateral raises, smaller movements like that you would need a lighter weight, all the way up in 10-pound increments down to 250 pounds. Now, one of my biggest gripes with a lot of these lat pull down, low row, single stack machines, whether it's the Adonis, Prime single stack, or this one, is the weight increments go in 10-pound increments, which is typical because you have to meet that amount of weight. Actually, Prime's goes in like 20 or 30-pound increments. Regardless, because it goes in 10-pound increments, you've got to figure out if you want to do 2.5 or 5-pound increments, how you're going to do that. Now, Adonis has a workaround where they also have a plate that comes off the sides, which allows you to add extra weight. The max weight on the stack is 210 pounds, and then they have the plates coming off the side. I actually really like that design because most people don't use over 210 pounds on a lat pull down. But the max weight of 250 pounds with 10-pound stacks means if you want to do 35 pounds or 45 pounds, you got to figure out a way to add weight. They haven't included or integrated that in any way. Many of the functional trainers that are really nice today have the integrated 5-pound or 2.5-pound drop down weights. That would be something that would be very beneficial on this that they just don't include. So you're gonna have to get something off market, like a gym pin or something like that, where you can attach more weight. For some people that may be minor, others it's major. It's just something worth calling out. For the powder coat on this unit, you can get this in any color you want so long as it's black. And that is this beautiful satin black that they use on a lot of their uprights. But one other thing that they did, I don't know if they did this, I don't know why they did this. This may just be because they like the look of it, but there is a lot of textured black shroud here, which means there's a lot of space for integrated storage, and there really wasn't any thought put into adding storage on this. It would be kind of cool if they added keyholes on some of this stuff so you could add some space for storing your lat pull down bars or something like that. Rep on their Adonis has the holes for the pegboard attachments. Something like that would be nice. Right now, you pretty much have a big shroud that you can add magnetic, like gator hooks or something like that, but it would be nice if it was integrated. Then is the base. The base is a little bit different than what we see from both Prime and Rep. Instead of Reps going like kind of straight out, this one comes out, juts out, and then goes. It's very stable, feels fine. You don't have to have the base. You can attach it to a rack if you'd like because it is fully modular. There is some side-to-side sway, as you can see, but you don't really torque on the unit in that way. You go down or basically out, so you don't really experience that when it's actually in use. Now to the front of the machine. This is where you'll be interacting with all the cables. Let's start with the trolley system. The trolley system is using the same trolleys that they use on their FM trainer, kind of. What I mean by that, if you look on their FM trainer, just to give more width to the pulleys, is they offset these to the side. So this wasn't straight on with the upright, it was actually off to the side. Well, they made a change with this one, now it's directly on. I like that change because some movements, you probably wanna be directly on the upright. It'd feel weird to just be kinda off. And because there's potentially attachments you could add to this where you could use this, and it would just be better if you were straight on. So because of that, they made this so it's right on the upright, which I thought was a good idea. Then this has changed too, I believe. I can't tell, and they don't say this on the site that I can tell, these handles are a little bit different than what they're using on the other handles on the FM Trainer series. The knurling is more passive, and it looks like it's a different material. It actually looks like it's aluminum instead of steel. I actually like the aluminum because it makes it lighter. It's also not gonna rust or anything like that, which the other ones I'm pretty sure are stainless steel. So this is actually a nice addition, and I'm hoping Rogue uses more and more aluminum in parts that don't need the extra strength because it's gonna make it lighter. Then, one of the things that Rogue is very proud of versus Rep is the fact that the trolley is fully integrated using their keyhole system. So you have two different buttons. Instead of having an external pin that you have to pull out, basically for extra security, you have one pop pin, and then you have this that goes into the keyhole, which is just a small lever. So when you pull both of them together, go up and down, which it uses rollers, which means it's very smooth, and then you lock it in. Now I will say, it is heavier to move this up and down than it is Reps. Reps is pretty easy to do one hand. This one, you can do one hand. It's not like it's real hard, but it is harder and heavier than Reps on their Adonis. So you have to decide what you like. I will say the trolley being overbuilt and the rollers is very nice. It looks very good. It moves very well. It's great, but Reps is lighter. Then on the front, this swivel pulley. This thing is beautiful. I freaking love this design. This is the same design they have on their others. Has full UHMW plastic on the front, so your cables aren't getting worn. You also have this bumper here that's protecting too. It has a very wide swivel range with oversized aluminum pulleys. Just this whole bushing system, it's just very well done. And you could technically kind of attach this on the side of, say, an FM trainer if you wanted one of these that was dedicated and then one that was just a functional trainer trolley. All right, then let me bring out the seat. This is Rogue's multi-use lat seat. Now, nearly all these companies have their own seat they're using on their modular systems. Some of them are made for one thing. Take Primes, it's just a lat pull down seat. Rep came out with the Pegasus, which has 3 adjustment points designed to be used with their lat pull down for a lat pull down seat, but also designed to be used as a chest row, something a la the Sorinex Bulldog pad. Rogue now has this. This is in some ways really good. In other ways, I think it lacks versus Reps. I'll talk about that. Surprisingly, this seat is actually lighter than Reps on their Pegasus. Typically, Rogue is known for very heavy pieces. That doesn't mean this is light. This is a 42 pound, so it's basically like lifting 45-pound plate. It is a very stout bench. They now have this seat that flares, whereas before it seemed like the first version, they were just gonna have the same thing they've had on their previous lat pull down seat, which is just a straight bar. I prefer this. This is better, especially for seated row movements and things like that. But this has 2 points of adjustment versus Reps 3 points of adjustments. So this can go up and down, which by the way, like this whole mechanism, again, like typical Rogue, is very overbuilt and very stout. They have bushings, brass bushings that are in here, so it's never gonna wear out. And then this whole system is just dialed in. Just there's no friction right here. So you dial this in, lock your legs in how you want. The oversized polyurethane foam thigh pads feel very comfortable. They also include some nice accessories. You can upgrade them too for a slightly smaller cost. This is their E-Coat lat pull down bar, which I think looks really good. I like their stainless bar. It would be nice if these came standard in aluminum. I think that'd be really sweet, but they are heavy duty and they work really nice. So for lat pull downs, you lock in here. They make this in this version, which is like their 90, 91 inch version. They also make one in a 100-inch version in case you want extra height, which is pretty cool. I don't think for a lot of home gyms that would matter. And I think you would, like, I'm 5'10", definitely have enough stretch on this version. But this one is actually a little bit shorter than the Rep Adonis. So depending on where you're putting it, this may make sense in certain builds. Get up, grab bar, come in, lock in, and then lat pull. Let's see if I can do the whole 250. That counts. Woo! So 250 pounds may not be heavy enough for you. It's the reason I bought 250 versus 300, just so I could show you I could do the whole stack. It's the one and only Double G. But this locks in here when you're not using it, when you're not doing the lat pull down. As you can see, the pull, it's not a true vertical pull. You do pull at slight angle, but I don't think that's a big deal. It's not a far angle. But the seat can be used in that orientation, or you can take it off using their beautiful knurled knob, which what would be really nice is if this had magnets on the other side, so you could magnetize it there when you're taking it off, because otherwise you kind of got to set it somewhere. Then you can flip it over and you can flip this seat over. So now you can use this for different chest rows and things of that nature. Now, one of the real nice benefits of this whole build is the fact that on the low row plate, which is different than the Adonis, they stack the pulleys, which means you can do more vertical pulls without just rubbing on a stay. I've seen some mods on the Adonis because there's a stay there that people added some bearings and some other things. This swivels all the way around, again, full bushing, everything, and is very nice. Now, is it better than the Pegasus? I think there's pluses and minuses to either. If you're gonna get this system, it's probably best to get Rogue's lat pull down seat because it's made for it, but there's pluses and minuses. I will just say this one is very well built, and I would have no problem using this seat instead of, say, a Sorinex Bulldog pad for all sorts of chest supported work or presses too. Now, one thing I feel like was not that well thought through on this is the fact that there's no real place to store this when it's not in use. So, for instance, if I want to use the functional trainer trolley, I don't want this in the way. Where do I put this? If you put it on the side, it's kind of in the way. If you put it on the back, well, most people are putting this up against the wall. The ideal place would be right here on this cross member. Unfortunately, they didn't put holes on the top of the cross member, so when you go to put this in here, because there's that stainless steel pin there, you can't store it on there. So you're kind of left without a place to store it, which is very annoying. On the Prime single stack, they have legs that also have holes in them, and you use those for storing stuff all the time. I feel like it was a big miss to not be able to have a place that I can just stick that in. Then to the low row, which comes with a D handle. You can do a different handle too. This is a very nice handle that's powder coated, but they also have their aluminum series that are also very nice. They're using the same low row diamond plate foot plate that is angled, so if you wanted to use a bench for it, you can. It is on the ground, so you're gonna have to do your low rows on the ground. This is adjustable with stainless on the tube, so you're not really gonna mar and scar it or get rusted up. And if you want to, you can use this. Oh, I got 250 on there, I forgot. But it is very smooth thanks to aluminum pulleys and just beautiful guide rods on the back. Not a ton to say on the low row, it just works. It's nice as one-to-one. Okay, this brings me to kind of my biggest thought on this, and that is this piece worth getting in 2025 or in the future versus all the other systems for a home gym? For a commercial gym setting and for certain home gym settings, I think this makes sense. The reality is though, most racks that people are adding to their home gyms, if they're spending this kind of money, already have all of this capability in one. Let's take the Rogue FM Trainer series. It's got a lat pull down with as much weight as you're gonna want. It's got a low row that's integrated, and it's got 2 pulleys off the front. My problem with these systems, whether it's the Adonis or this or the single stack, they are lacking in functionality in comparison to the rack functional trainers that are integrated because there's only one functional trainer exit point. This single functional trainer exit point is nice for single cable movements, but a lot of the times when you're using functional trainers, you want 2 exit points. So the ideal, in my opinion, for a single stack is for them to have 2 arms come off to the sides that are adjustable. One of those is like the Hoist original version or the Titan Nemesis. There's other versions that are out there too that do that kind of thing. That's what I would like to see on something like this, because this single exit point, although this is all really well built and very nice, to me it feels just a little bit too late versus all the innovation that's happening in the home gym space. So for like vast majority of you, my recommendation would not be to get something like this. It would be to get a rack that has all this integrated already. Takes up less space and can do all this stuff and more because it has 2 separate trolleys on 2 separate uprights. If you're somebody that wants a dedicated lat pull down low row, that sort of thing, I think something like the Quantum Free Trainer, which has a leverage system, is gonna offer you some things that you can't get with the functional trainer because it has the arms that you can use for other things, but also because it has a leverage system. So the strength curve changes. I like this system if you really need a dedicated lat pull down, low row, single exit point, functional trainer, and that's really what you're looking for. Now, do I like this more than the Adonis? They're very similar. The Rep Adonis has 210-pound max cable stack, but they offer the plate-loaded versions. This from Rogue can go 250 or 300 pounds, and they say they're offering a plate-loaded version soon, which the Rep Adonis has as well. They have similar depths and sizes. Like this one is maybe a little bit shorter, but not a ton. This one is maybe a little bit more compact, but it's not like crazy game-changing for a home gym. They're using different qualities of materials. I mean, they're both well made. Rogue's is made in the US, Reps is imported if that matters to you. But the price, that's really what it comes down to. This one from Rogue, which includes the 250-pound stack and also no seat, is around $3,000. If you have the seat, it's gonna be $3,345. Then if you get basically Reps version of that, it's gonna be $3,000, $3,024. You have to decide if Rogue's quality and some of their stuff is worth spending $300 more. In my opinion, which one would I get? Man, I would probably go with Rogue too if I was in the market for one of these, but regardless, they're both really good. The one thing that I would really use that you can't really do on Rep out of the box is these stacked pulleys. I really like that. But there are things I like about the Pegasus seat versus Rogues, but there's also things I like about the Rogues versus Rep. They're neck and neck, which is really good because that means that there's competition, means price goes down, means innovation goes up, means that you win. Okay, this has been Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. Let me know what you think of this in the comments versus others that are on the market. Let me know if you'd like to see any comparisons. I'll see you next time.